at least in my day, a couple stories of some of the mischief that you could get into at Rice University, which you may or may not be able to anymore. One was what we called steam tunneling, and that would involve going in the physical plant tunnels beneath the school. You'd open up, especially at the end of a long night's party, you might want to find an alternative way to get back to your college. So you'd find the nearest manhole, open it up and climb down in, and then see if you could proceed through hundreds of yards of steam tunnels and maybe make it back to near your own college without clanging your head against a bolt sticking out, or sticking your hand on a pipe that's 400 degrees. One night after a party, we took it upon ourselves to go into the lunchroom of Sidridge College, and we took all the tables from their whole cafeteria and stuffed them into a small room off the side, so that when they came down the next Saturday morning, there was no seats to be had in their entire cafeteria. And it took them about an hour or two before they figured out that all their seats had been stuffed into a small room. A Team Weiss tradition was that if someone accomplished something spectacular, like maybe scored a winning touchdown in intramural football or something like that, we did something called a ubangi. And what a ubangi consisted of was putting one person on the bottom on the ground, and then many people would proceed to pile on to this person, and there would be various chants and stuff. But that was what a ubangi was, and often it could be quite dangerous. Like there's one story of a guy whose blood vessels actually popped because there was so much pressure on him on the bottom of this pile. There was one more prank that took place while I was a student, and while I can't take direct credit, it was the accomplishment of some fellow Weiss collegemen of mine. They were all Mechis. See, I was a double E in computer science, so I couldn't pull this off myself. But these guys were Mechis. So one night, they went to the middle of the quad, set up appropriate rigging, and hoisted the statue of William Marsh Rice up in the air, turned it 180 degrees, and dropped it back down on the two pins that it rests on. And then took their rigging away, and no one knew the better. I think at one point during the night, a campus police officer did kind of wander by, but they gave him some believable excuse and they left him alone. So they pulled off a pretty incredible feat.